Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna explain about AWS Lambda function, in which we have to create an EC2 instance with the help of Lambda function where we use Boto3 Python, and then we have to create an EC2 instance. Firstly, we have to understand like what is AWS Lambda and how it works. What is the services used in AWS? So AWS Lambda is a serverless, event-driven computing platform that has been offered by Amazon. It is a part of AWS services. Basically, it is a computing services that run codes in a response to event and manage the computing resources required by the code automatically. And in this, we have to create some uses cases like they have to uploading images or objects to Amazon S3 buckets, updating DynamoDB tables, responding to website clicks, or responding to sensor readings, like many other services they have provided. It is used to automatically provision the backend service triggered by the custom HTTP request, as well as they have service we are not using to save us the resources. They have a custom HTTP request they have set to like AWS API gateways, which we can handle authentications and authorizations when used in the conjunction with the AWS Cognito. So these are the types of AWS Lambda. And then we have to understand like what is the key features, like what type of key features they have. So they have like the scaling up of the services, like how they have AWS Lambda execute your codes when it required to scale up automatically to meet the volume of incoming requests, like without any manual configurations. So they have no any limits, like how much type of number of requests they can handle. So they have an integrated fault tolerance, like they have to protect your code against any individual machines or data center facility failures. So AWS Lambda maintain compute capacity across multiple availability zones in each AWS region. Then we have to go for the next features like access shared file systems, like means they have securely read, write, and persist large volume of data at any of the scale using Amazon Elastic File Systems of for AWS Lambda. So these are the key features. Mainly, we have to understand like how it work and how what the use of AWS Lambda. Then we have to go to now. I have to show you like how to create EC2 instances. What are the steps they have followed and how the code has been written in this. Like in Lambda, how we use Boto3 Python code. Then we have to learn about like why would use Boto3 and all, and why would use functions of Python with the help of Python code, and we have to define such classes over here. Then we have to create our EC2 instance. They have automatically created. So now I have to show you like how it works. So this is my machine in AWS console where I have to start our IAM roles firstly. Firstly, I have to create IAM roles so that I have to provide some roles and policies over there in these functions. So this is my roles which I have to create one role. Then I have to choose Lambda over here. These are the steps we have to follow to create it. One permissions of my IAM role. Then I've used Lambda basic execution role. Like these are the roles which are mainly used in this service. Then I provide the role name over here. Like any of the random name you have to choose to given over here. So this is basically a function which I have created. So how to provide roles so that they can access my EC2 instances, and they have taken all the permissions through that so that they can work on it for these services. Now I have to create that role over here. Now I have to go to my policies where we have to select our, we have to see like which policies I have given like of lambda. In role, we are already created that policies. Like I have already created that role so that they have select over these functions over here or my lambda function which I have created in my roles. I have to select over this and where these are the mainly permission steps where we have to check like my permission policies is presently over here or not, which I have already created. Now in these steps, I have to choose the JSON format. So I have to edit this file, edit policy, and then I have to paste, select JSON. Then I have to select all this. Mainly these are the steps where we have choose the JSON format over here file so that it will work like all the instances and actions and resources over here in this file. Now this is here my review policies over here. So we have to check like my policies is working. Now I have to go to my lambda function where I have to create it such steps I have to follow like how to create it all the steps in lambda function. Now I have to create function over here. Now I have to provide the basic information over there. Like I have to provide the name, any of the name I have to given over here. Now I have to choose Python 3.9 and then I have changed the default which is using my existing policies. So this is my lambda function which I already created my role over here in IAM. Now I have created my function. These are the steps which we have to see like how it would work, like which test. This is my test role. This is the steps we have to follow, and I have to write in over here like a Python code. Now I have to understand what type of code it is. So these are the code which I have written. Like we have to provide the import of OS open services and service of like Boto 3 which I've used, where we have to create some provide the AMI role instances, and these are the steps we have to follow in this in which we have to use like import OS and import Boto 3. Boto 3 is a software Boto is basically a software development kit which you have to improve the use of Python programming in AWS, and which we have to follow like AMI features like OS dot environment AMI. We have to provide the AMI of my instance, then instance type, like what type of instance you have used, like T2 micro or any of the others. So I have basically used T2 micro and key name. Which key name I have provided, like any of the key you have, like PAM file you have to provide it over here, and subnet ID, basically a subnet ID which instance you are created, and you have to provide that subnet ID of that instance. EC2, this is the method we have followed, like EC2 is equal to boto3 dot resource EC2. Like these are they have created in this step, like boto3 have provided such useless resources of EC2, so that they have created that instance over here. Then we have to define the lambda handler, that event and context, in which we have to provide the means in this step like Python we have to define the lambda functions, like how it can handle like instances over here. Like instances is, for example, they have mentioned like instances go to EC2 dot create instance. So that in this instance, I have to create the EC2 instance over here, like image edit, like AMI, we have used instance type is instance type. So these are the steps we have followed to create our one of the, these are the code. Basically, this is the code we have to return to create our instance. If this code is valid, then my then they have to test our code over in Lambda. If this succeeded, then my instance will create it. Otherwise, they will showing me the error. Like this code is not valid, the syntax error, there's something error in going over here. So we have to write this code in a very prominent way so that my code has been running on the backend side so that my instance will be created. So these are the steps we have used to Boto 3 Python. Boto 3 is basically like a user contributor library which is used to develop in a building Python based cloud applications to converting AWS application programming interface responses into Python classes. So these are the steps we have to follow in Boto 3. Like they have API responses, consistency of up-to-date interfaces. They have a high-level service-specific features like they included the automatic multi-part transfer for Amazon S3 and simplified queries of conditions of DynamoDB. So these are used in like JSON. They have converting to Lambda function. Then we have used to access these Boto 3 functions over the Python services using this. Now I have to show you like how it is run and how it is deployed to code over here. So this might define the handler over here and instances. So in the print line, they have instance created. So I have choose this path, this programming, and then I have to deploy so that it will successfully, they have shown me successfully updated the function. Then I have go to configuration where I have to provide the environment variable. So that these are the main steps. Like if you miss this step, your code will not run. Like is the previous I have shown you like on the code, like I have used AMI, instance types, key, and subnet IDs. So all things I have to mention over here. Like this is like a variable. Like this all of the variables. So that I have to define all the variable over here. And I have written in the code, and then I have to define all variable over here so that they can catch all the codes in through this environment over there my code. Then they can understand like, yeah, these are the steps they have created and in the code, and they have to just catch import all these services over here to my code. Then it my code will run over here. Otherwise it will giving me an error, like your code is not prominent, their code is not in a correct manner. So I have just save it and then I have to test it. Go to test. I have to create one event over here so that they can invoke our functions without saving any of the events. So I have to remove all these things. And now I have to go to save. Then my next step is I have to test these services. It will work or not. Then now I have to test these services. It will work or not. Now click on test. So this my code has been running now. They are seeing me the execution has succeeded. My code is running. If it is not working, they have showing me an error over here like your execution has been failed. You can't access your file over here. So now I have to check my instance, it is running or not. Just wait a second. We have to understand like it will work or not in this way to create an EC2 instance. As you see, these are running. My instance is running over here. I have just provided all the sources of the variable. So, but my instance is automatically created over here. So these are the steps we have followed, and these are the things we have to edit in my Python code. These are the almost a little small code, but you have to write in a such manner so that your code should be run and execute properly. If it not work, you will get an error. Of multiple times you will get this error, and you will not find it this error where in that such way so that you can't execute your EC2 instance to run this any of the instances by using this code. So you have to write in proper way. So thank you for watching this my video, and we will see you on next video. Thank you.